She just gave birth, hasn't even held her baby, and now there is paperwork to sign it away, already approved. How does that happen without her? And why rush her right now?
Don't sign that if you do, you'll never see your baby again. The nurse's whisper barely reached me before she was pulled out of the room. I was lying in a hospital bed, still shaking from giving birth, my body numb and heavy. My newborn had just been taken out minutes ago, and no one would tell me why. My mother-in-law stood at the foot of my bed, holding a stack of papers and a pen, her voice low but sharp. "Sign this, precious. It's already been approved." I blinked at the document, legal terms, custody, language, my name already typed in, like a decision had been made without me. "I haven't even held my baby," I said, my voice cracking. "Where is my child?" She didn't answer, just pushed the pen closer into my hand. Then the door opened again. Another nurse stepped in, glanced at the papers, then at me, and suddenly froze. "Why is this being signed now?" she asked. And that's when everything in the room shifted. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. "Why is this being signed now?" she asked. And that's when everything in the room shifted. My mother-in-law didn't turn around right away. She just stood there, shoulders stiff, like she hadn't expected anyone to question her. Then, slowly, she faced the nurse, her expression smoothing into something calm, too calm. "It's already been cleared," Denise said, tapping the papers lightly. "We're just finishing the process." The nurse didn't move. Her eyes flicked from the document to me, then to the empty bassinet beside my bed. Empty. My chest tightened so fast it felt like I couldn't breathe. "Where is my baby?" I asked again, louder this time, my voice breaking through the haze of pain medication and exhaustion. "Why is the bassinet empty?" No one answered me. Denise stepped closer, lowering her voice like she was trying to keep things contained. "Precious, you're overwhelmed. This is just temporary. Sign it, and everything will be easier for everyone." Temporary? My fingers trembled as I looked down at the page again. I could make out phrases now: guardianship, custodial authority, transfer of care. This wasn't hospital paperwork. This was something else entirely. "I didn't agree to this," I said, shaking my head. "Where is Marcus?" That name lingered in the air for a second too long. Denise exhaled through her nose, like she was running out of patience. "Marcus already handled his part," she said. "You don't need to worry about that." A cold, heavy silence dropped into my stomach. Handled his part? The nurse took a step closer to my bed. "Ma'am," she said carefully, "the patient just delivered. Any legal documents?" "They've already been approved," Denise cut in, sharper now. "There's no issue here." But the nurse didn't back down this time. Her eyes narrowed slightly as she looked at the file in her hand, flipping it open, scanning something quickly. I watched her expression change, just a flicker, but enough. Confusion. Then concern. She leaned in slightly toward me again, her voice lower, more controlled this time. "Precious, did anyone explain these documents to you before now?" "No," I whispered. "I've never seen them." That was the first time Denise's composure cracked. "Enough!" she snapped, her voice suddenly firm. She shoved the pen into my hand, pressing it against my fingers. "You're making this harder than it needs to be. Sign it!" My heart was pounding so loud I could hear it in my ears. My baby was gone, my husband was missing, and the only person giving me answers was the one pushing me to give something up I didn't understand. I tightened my grip on the pen, then slowly lowered it onto the bed instead. "I'm not signing anything," I said. The room went still. Denise's eyes hardened, all pretense gone now. She straightened, looking down at me like I'd just made a mistake I didn't understand yet. "You don't seem to realize what's already been set in motion," she said quietly. Then she reached for the papers again, and this time she flipped to the last page and turned it toward me. There, in bold ink, was a signature I recognized instantly. Marcus. Marcus's signature stared back at me like it didn't belong there. I pushed myself up against the hospital bed, ignoring the sharp pain pulling through my body. "No," I said, under my breath, shaking my head. "He wouldn't do this. Not without telling me." Denise didn't flinch. "He already did. she replied flatly. We had to make decisions you couldn't. The nurse beside me shifted uncomfortably. Ma'am, I really think we need to pause this. This is a family matter, Denise cut in, her tone icy now. It's already been handled legally. My stomach dropped. Legally? Images started flashing through my mind. Denise insisting on coming to my prenatal appointments, asking questions about custody laws, making little comments like, some mothers aren't prepared for what comes after. Birth. At the time, Marcus had laughed it off. That's just how she is, he'd told me. But now, lying here with my baby gone and his name signed onto something I never agreed to, it didn't feel harmless anymore. Where is he? I demanded, my voice louder now. Call Marcus. I want to hear this from him. Denise crossed her arms. Marcus isn't coming. The words hit harder than anything else. What do you mean he's not coming? I asked, my voice shaking. She looked me dead in the eye. He's already done his part. And for the first time, it didn't sound like an excuse. It sounded final. I swung my legs over the side of the bed before I could think twice. Pain shot through my body instantly, but it didn't matter. I'm not signing anything, I said, my voice rising as I tried to stand. And I'm not staying here while you take my baby. Precious, get back in the bed, the nurse said quickly, reaching toward me, but I pulled away. Denise didn't move to help. She just watched me, arms folded, like she was waiting for me to wear myself out. The door opened again. A different nurse stepped in, older, more composed, holding a clipboard. She glanced at Denise first, then at me, struggling to stay upright. What's going on here? She asked. Denise answered immediately. She's just overwhelmed. We're finalizing her paperwork. The nurse looked down at her clipboard, flipping a page. Guardianship transfer, she read aloud, almost to herself. My head snapped up. What? She continued, more clearly this time. Prearranged. Filed. 3 days ago. 3 days. That's not possible, I said. I didn't sign anything. I didn't agree to anything. Denise calmly slid another sheet forward. You didn't need to, she said.
Filed 3 days ago, and she's saying you didn't even need to sign? Then why push you right now? What are they rushing?
My eyes dropped to the page. Marcus's signature again, dates, witness lines, and then a line that made my chest go cold. Mother deemed temporarily unfit due to documented instability. I looked up at her, my voice barely there. You told them I'm unfit? No denial, no hesitation. And that's when the nurse said something that made everything worse. If this is valid, the baby may already be under alternate guardianship. No! The word came out sharper than I expected, cutting through the room before anyone else could speak. I grabbed the side rail of the bed to steady myself, forcing my voice to stay firm. I want my medical file now, and I want to speak to whoever approved this. The older nurse hesitated, glancing at Denise, then back at me. That hesitation told me everything, something wasn't right. I have a right to see what's in my name, I added, louder this time. The first nurse, the one who had warned me, slipped back into the room. She moved quickly to my side, lowering her voice. I checked your chart, she whispered. That guardianship request was flagged earlier, but then it was cleared. Fast. Too fast. My stomach dropped. Cleared by who? She didn't answer, but her eyes flicked, just briefly, toward Denise. Pieces started locking into place. Denise's constant presence, her questions, Marcus disappearing, the timing right when I was in labor, vulnerable, unable to push back. This wasn't panic. This was planned. I do not consent to any of this, I said, raising my voice so everyone in the room could hear. Get administration. And if my baby isn't brought back to me right now, I'm calling the police. That shifted something. The older nurse straightened, uncertainty creeping in. Denise's calm finally cracked. You're making a scene over something that was already decided, she snapped. I met her stare, my voice steady now. Then why do you need my signature? Silence. Her jaw tightened. You were never supposed to keep that baby. The room went dead quiet after she said it. Not a single person moved for a second, like even the air had frozen around us. "What did you just say?" the older nurse asked, her voice sharp now, no hesitation left. Denise didn't answer this time. She pressed her lips together, but the damage was already done. Everything shifted. The authority she'd been leaning on, gone. The assumption that this was routine, gone. Now there were eyes on her, questions forming, doubt spreading. "I want administration in here immediately," the older nurse said, stepping toward the door. "And security." Denise's head snapped toward her. "That won't be necessary." "It is now." Within minutes, the room filled hospital administration, another nurse, and a security officer standing just inside the door. The papers were taken from Denise's hands. My chart was pulled up on a tablet right in front of me. And for the first time, everything was actually being read out loud. "Guardianship request filed by Marcus Hale and Denise Hale," the administrator said, scanning the document, "claiming maternal instability, requesting temporary transfer of custodial rights immediately following birth." "I never agreed to that," I said, my voice steady despite the tears sitting in my throat. The administrator nodded. "We can see that. There's no patient consent on file." The room tightened again. "So this is incomplete," the nurse added quietly. "Incomplete and improperly expedited," the administrator corrected. "This should have triggered a full evaluation. Instead, it was pushed through preliminary approval." They looked up at Denise. "Do you have any explanation for that?" She didn't. And that's when it became clear this wasn't just manipulation. It was fraud. "If she had signed," the nurse said softly, glancing at me, "this would have finalized the transfer." A cold wave ran through me. They would have taken my baby legally. "Where is my child?" I demanded, louder now. This time, no one ignored me. "I'll have the baby brought back immediately," the nurse said, already moving. Minutes later, the door opened again. And everything inside me broke the second I saw them. My baby wrapped tightly, small, alive, placed gently into my arms like they were always meant to be there. I held on without thinking, like if I loosened my grip, someone might try again. Behind me, voices continued security, asking Denise to step out, the administrator mentioning an internal investigation, words like fraud, coercion, legal liability being thrown around. Marcus's name came up again, too. He wasn't just absent. He was involved. By the next day, everything had shifted completely. The hospital launched a formal investigation. The staff member who rushed the paperwork was suspended. Legal reports were filed. And Marcus? He didn't call, not once. So I made the decision for him. I filed for divorce, full custody, and this time, when I signed the papers, I read every single word. Days later, I walked out of that hospital holding my baby, no one beside me, no one controlling anything. Just me. And the one thing they tried to take, the only signature they needed, I whispered, looking down at my child, was the one I refused to give.
If paperwork like that can move before a mother even holds her baby, how often does it happen quietly? And how many people never realize what was decided without them?